message on that. What I'd like to get to is how we can effectively hold these open houses, why you should be working them, what you get out of them. And I would like some feedback from you guys. I know I see Natalie is here. And before we get started, I'd like to ask Natalie some questions. Natalie, you're my open house person who loves to do open houses. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what you've gotten out of that, how that's worked out for you.
Well, I enjoy it because I get to meet buyers, and also I get to meet neighbors. I find a lot of the neighbors come in and they may be wanting to sell down the road. So it's kind of putting your pipeline in play. I also partner. I will say I get with my other agent friends, not with FRI, but other agencies that have houses nearby. And we do it simultaneously. I print out her MLS sheets. She prints out mine. She has a pool home. I don't. It's a bigger house. Mine's smaller. So we actually refer back and forth too. So you're making friends with agents. You're meeting sellers. You're meeting buyers. I mean, it's all around good. Okay,
great. And I see Alexi is in the comments. He's been doing one a week for a while. I didn't get to catch the whole thing. I'm not hooked on phonics, but I'm not getting any results. I'm glad I tuned in. Great. So I think that's important too. So that's great. And that's very creative to find people in your neighborhood who have, and there's lots of these, who have dissimilar homes and dissimilar price ranges. So you're not really in competition with them so much as they are they're having people, it's just out of our price range, or, I really want a pool. I really want this. I really want that. Or I don't want this. I don't want that. And that's great. That's smart to do regardless if you're doing open house or not, to contact the other agents who have listings nearby who are, $100,000 different. There's one for sale near me that's in a neighborhood. This house was built in the late 90s and it's worth $700,000, but there are homes that were built in the last few years that are 1.3 in the same neighborhood. And so and this one doesn't have a pool, and a lot of the new ones have pools and stuff like that, but they're in completely different styles and different sizes. Back in 1997, 2,600 square feet was a bigger house. And nowadays it's a small house, right? So in a neighborhood like that. So it's, and everything's dated. And so they're, $600,000-$700,000 apart, the difference between these houses. Nice neighborhood, obviously. But they're just completely different homes and not competition at all.
And you get to know the market.
Right.
I mean, isn't that what it's all about? We have to know our area of expertise. So yes, I like it.
Right. It's not 2021 where anybody could just put a house up for, you could have no experience at all and just put up a house for sale and you would do fine, except for you wouldn't be that great at negotiation and, sorting the offers and doing all that. That was the challenge back then. Remember, you guys were making spreadsheets for all the offers you were getting. And now, that'd be a short spreadsheet. So, we got 120 days on market a lot of times and stuff like that for reasonably priced homes. So it's a whole different thing out there. And these open houses now, and you guys weren't doing open houses in 2021. By the time you set it up, you'd already have 8 offers, right? So now it's not like that at all. Sellers, you can use these. First of all, you should be having them if you have a listing, even if you don't feel like working it or you don't want to work it or whatever, you can't work it. And a lot of times, you should be having something. If you have 3 listings, get them going. I want to get to you guys about how to do the actual listings. What have you guys found that works for you before I get into this? What have you guys found that works for you to promote your open houses? When should you, let me, I'm not getting any response on that. So let me, but I'm not going to answer my own question. So let me ask you a different question. How much lead time do you think you should have before you, because I get a lot of you guys saying, hey, it's Thursday. Does anybody want to do an open house this weekend for me? To properly do an open house, how much time do you need to plan? Yes, Carolina.
I usually do like a week in advance and I post it everywhere and get someone to commit either the week before just to make sure that it's covered if I'm not able to do it.
Okay. Tammy.
Well, I think it's a good idea when you're going to list a house to plan out doing an open house, like, list active Thursday and then open house that weekend. Like right as you list it, strategically have an open house, I think. And then you can continue, but that's would be my suggestion.
Yeah. Sunina, I'll tell you, Sunina's not getting sound. We're getting sound, Sunina. Maybe log out and log back in, or like Alexi said, check your volume. You may have muted it at some point. So, yeah, and I do like that. I like doing them when you first get it on the market, the opening weekend, if you can. It's good to at least. So yes, Carolina, a week is ideal. I think you should do it I think you should do it the Saturday, Sunday before. So people are, hey, I know you might be going out to open houses this weekend, but don't do anything crazy because I've got mine coming next weekend. So I think that's great. And then there are lots of things you can do in the meantime if you're serious about this. And I think that really, I think Wednesday, if you don't get it on the market till Thursday, maybe that's all right, but you can still market it on Wednesday and put it on MLS on Thursday. But you really want to, and that's coming soon, not on the market yet. Make sure you put it on the market the next day. But that's where you get into, open house this Saturday, very exciting stuff. So there are lots of benefits from doing these open houses. And most of all, right now, you have to stand out as a listing agent. And I don't care if you pass it off to another agent. You don't have to sit in the house, and some of you have multiple listings. You have 5, 6, 7 listings. You're not gonna be able to sit in all those houses every weekend, but you can get other people to do them. And I really am baffled. That's the word I was looking for earlier, by the lack of interest in some of our agents who are not super busy. Maybe the pipeline's a little thin, and you ought to be working these open houses. So let's go. I'm going to share this with you. I could have pulled a generic PowerPoint, but I want to be able to ask it questions. So I pulled AI, as I so often like to do. And I feel like I'm teaching you guys to fish rather than just feeding you a fish every day. When I get you this AI stuff, I'm going to blow this up a little bit more for those of you who are not. All right, is that a little bit better for everybody? And look at the prompt, the genius prompt I gave it. What are the steps required to have a successful open house as a realtor? All right. Some of this stuff is really obvious, but you have to do it, guys. And you get there, and you guys have all been to open houses, or you've worked open houses for other people, or you've done it yourself. We all make mistakes where you show up and the place isn't great to show right away. There's a couple of roaches on the floor. There's whatever, because nobody's looked at the house in a little bit. Especially when you're working it for other people, go there beforehand and see what you're getting into. But some of the other things we're going to talk about are going to make it obvious that you're going to be in the neighborhood anyway. Stage the home the best that you can. Clean thoroughly, make minor repair. You don't have to do all that stuff if you should have already done that for the listing anyway, or the listing agent should have. Make sure it's in good shape. The lawn looks decent. You can't get people to do all this stuff all the time, but the more they do, the better. Okay, some of you guys, and don't. Guys, I see so many of you, and I don't know another word other than maybe lazy or too busy, or you should have had somebody else do it. But I see 11 to 1. I see like 2 hours open house. I know it's not fun to sit in an open house if it's not busy, but give some reasonable times, at least 3 hours. I would do 4, like 12 to 4, 1 to 5, something like that. Or even, 11 to 3. Check what other open houses are around you too, because people like to go to a couple of open houses. So see what's around you too. Avoid conflicts with major community events. I don't know how big of a deal that is, but it's probably something. Season and weather. We don't have much choice here in Florida. It's hot 9 months out of the year. Online promotion. Put it on everything that you possibly can. Obviously, when you put it on MLS, it puts it on all these other things, which is great. Your social media. That's why you guys need to have active social media too. Just, you don't have to share all of your personal stuff on there, just your business stuff, a few personal things here and there. When you go to the farmer's market, you go to whatever, put that kind of stuff on there, promote the area, promote everything. A lot of times areas sell these houses. It's not just the house itself. Signage, place clear professional signs with arrows, high traffic. Guys, we have open house signs here. We have tons of them. We will take a deposit for them. I believe it's $20 a sign. We don't run your credit card unless you don't return it. And we'll tell you have it back by Tuesday. And if you don't return it, then we will. But you need to, and obviously if you're going to return it on Wednesday or whatever, you're going to bring it back, that's fine. We won't hit your deposit. We only take a deposit. They're free to use as long as you bring them back. Okay. Email campaigns. Send invitations to your client database. Obviously, guys, neighborhood residents and local realtors. Print materials. I also went down and talked about, because I didn't mention in this when I did it before, I went down to, should I canvass neighborhood prior to the event? Now, that's a rhetorical question. I wanted it to talk about that. Why canvass a neighborhood? Neighbors may know someone looking to move to the area or be interested themselves. I don't know if I ever told you guys this story, but last time I sold my own personal residence, I sold it to a neighbor's sister who wanted to move down from New Jersey. I didn't have to pay any realtor. I didn't even put it on the market. They paid cash, and they paid, at that time, it was over market. Now, wish I'd held on to it. But at that time was over market, right? Or at the top of the market, because they wanted to live there really badly, because their sister lived across the street and they wanted to be a family there next to them. So it's fantastic. But get into that. You never know. You may have to cancel this open house, or you find this other person in a different house, right? Build community awareness. Locals can spread the word, increasing turnout, of course. How to canvass effectively. 3 to 7 days before the open house to build anticipation without being too early or last minute. I would do it 3 days. I would do it on a Wednesday, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, do it on a Wednesday. As soon as you decide, that's why I say you need 3 to 4 days to get this thing planned. Put it on your social media before that, but canvass the neighborhood 3 days before. They won't forget that. Even if they forget, they're going to see the signs that day, right? Oh, I've been meaning to stop by there. I don't know about you guys, but I've just popped into the neighborhood open houses before, just to see what's going on. Materials, create professional flyers with key property details, open house date and time, and your contact info. Guys, that's very easy to do. Michelle will do it for you. If you can't do it, she'll do it for you for free. We have a marketing coordinator, Michelle Machado. She will do it for you for free. She's in this meeting right now. She will do it for you on Canva. If you need her, she'll do a Canva flyer for you. If you ever need anything extra from Michelle that's outside of normal stuff, you can set up a deal with her to do stuff for you separately, which won't be free, but it'll be on her own time. She'll do stuff for you and above and beyond. But this kind of thing is normal. Include a high quality photo of the home or QR linking to the online listing. Guys, I can't overstate, especially right now, the importance of getting good quality photos for your listings. Hopefully you guys are doing that. You guys, we've been over the listing agreement before. You guys know if someone cancels a listing with you, you are still entitled to the marketing money that you spent, even if you don't have a cancellation fee on there. If you have a cancellation fee, you're entitled to the marketing money plus the cancellation fee. All right. So spend a little bit of money on this. You're spending money to make money. And if you can prove that you're better than other people by using these things, not better than other people, you're a better listing agent than other listing agents by showing what you've done for previous listings, you can justify your 3%. Okay. And why should I give you 3%? Carolina's going to do it for 2%. And so does Carolina do all this? Look what I did for this house, right? And you guys can't see, I'm going through a portfolio of my listings where I've taken these great pictures and this and this and this. Look at this house. Look what it sold for. Of course, you're showing the highlights. You're not showing the ones that you overpriced by 100,000. You end up selling it, 100,000 less than your original listing. But you're highlighting the ones that you sold in 3 days. You sold in 1 day. You sold in whatever. And you're showing the photos that you had done, the videos you had done, whatever it is that you have done, be able to show that as well. If you build up, guys, don't be afraid to brag. One of the best realtors in town is Ron the realtor, and Ron is the most braggadocious dude I know. So he loves to talk about himself. He's great. And I'd say that in front of him. He knows it. But he does brag about how great he does. And he really does great. He does 60 million a year by himself, no team. So he does great, but he loves to talk about himself. And he has, shirts and hats and all this stuff just about him. But you don't need to go that far. you do need to go into how great you are, and in a nice way, right? He doesn't even bother with that, being nice about it, but you should. So consider small branded giveaways to leave a lasting impression. That's great stuff. Knock on doors during reasonable hours. Okay. Obviously to catch residents at home. Introduce yourself as a listing agent, briefly explain the open house and hand out flyers. Have something you can leave there. I know Chad's been on here before. He's offered to do your co-branding with other people. If you don't want to spend money on this kind of stuff, other people will co-brand with you. Chad said he would do it. I don't know if you guys know Chad from here, Chad Taylor. He said he would do it. There's other people, you know, if you don't want to do Chad's deal, there's other people who do it. They'll give you door hangers. They'll give you that kind of stuff. Not everybody's going to be home. Not everybody's going to answer the door. This isn't, 1985 where everybody answers the door. So, oh my gosh, somebody's knocking. It's the best day of my life. Now it's let's hide in the room. Turn everything off. Let's hide. If no one is home, leave a flyer. There you go, in a visible spot. Focus on homes with a 1-2 block radius. These residents are more likely. You guys, if you're in a neighborhood, do the 100 closest houses, whatever you're going to do. Prioritize homes that appear well maintained, as everyone's going to have connections to potential buyers, I guess. Carolina, do you have a question? Comment.
The door knocking, is that for, it's your listing so that maybe that homeowner or renter has a friend, family? What's the process of door knocking? Like, what is the goal?
Okay. Here's the goal of everything that we do. Get your face in front of people without being overly, hey, buy a house. This is anytime you can make it seem like a service to them. Anytime you can justify why you're there as a service. You're not there to sell them solar panels. You're not there to, whatever, pool service or whatever, or the people who tie rocks to things and throw them in your driveway. I don't know if you guys have that go on, but lawn guys, and you're not there to give them, the massy lawn service and all that stuff, right? You are giving them something. You're bringing them something of value. And this is what you should be doing on your social media too. Hey, look at this. You don't want to see pool homes in Orlando under $600,000? Here's a list on your social media. Contact me for a list of pool homes. You can really get one for under 500,000, whatever it is, right? You're offering them a service. Contact me for that. So when you go knock on these doors, you're saying, I'm doing an open house. If you guys are interested, you can come by and check out this open house. You're not just knocking on the door and say, hey, I'm a realtor, want to sell your house. I don't mind if you do that too. If you have the ability to take rejection like that and go do that, that's fine. But it lowers your rejection. It lowers how you feel rejected. Less people are going to be mean to you if you're like, hey, just want to let you know I'm doing an open house this Saturday down the street. You're not asking them for anything. You're offering them something, right? The words that come out of their mouth is what you're going to be prepared for, how to talk to them after that. Oh, really? Okay. Is that the one down? Which one is that? And you tell them, oh, that's a beautiful one down here, blah, 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 blah. Here, I've got this flyer. Look at that house that's been beautifully done. I think it might be the same model as yours. I'm not real sure. That kind of thing. And if you guys just want to come and check it out, if nothing else,
I've done that in 4 years. I used to do that a lot.
Right.
But I think you're absolutely correct to start doing that again, because it looks like it's a little different. I don't know. I'm feeling different vibes with listings now.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's stuff to get people in there, so they're not showing, right? And I do have some good news for you guys about, mortgage applications are way up this year. But they're up this year, not way up, but they're significantly up from last year, 10-15%. So that's fantastic. I saw the stats come out this week, which is great. It means people are looking and buying again. Even if rates are just sitting there, there's pent up demand. People they have to move for some reason. They kept waiting for rates. They kept waiting for the market to fall. It's not really falling much in most areas, certainly not in Florida much. So let me get back to that though. So you do that and you say, look, I got this house. I got this. Look at, my flyer, blah, blah, blah. And if nothing else, guys, just come by for some cookies. I'm going to have some great cookies there, whatever, right? Just, create some rapport with the people. And they will occasionally, not every time, say, oh yeah, my sister and her family are looking to move to Florida. That's where people want to be. Thinking about bringing my parents down. That might be a little too close. Ha ha ha. Whatever, right? But it gets things going, and it gets what's better at open house than an open house that already has people in it when the clients come in, right? It's like, oh, people want this house. This is a nice house. And you're not always going to sell that house, but you're going to get, like Natalie was talking about, you're going to get buyer leads. You're going to get people who yeah, we know this house isn't for us. We can't afford this. You know, they look at the sheet that says it's $799 and we're more in like the 600,000, but we thought it was a really nice house. We're looking in the neighborhood. Great. Really? Where's your realtor? Oh, we're not really working with him. I mean, you wouldn't ask like that, but are you working with somebody? No. Okay. Well, great. I've got a list of houses available nearby right now. Take your laptop, by the way, too. And set them up on an auto search and, get them to sign something with you if you want. You don't have to get them on an auto search, but create a rapport with them. So, Sunaina.
Ryan, I'm doing open house for vacation rental, Airbnb in Solterra Resort this weekend because I finally got the space because the owners are coming here. Otherwise, the property manager was not giving me the space. But it's this Saturday, Sunday. So you think, because every time there are new people in the neighborhood, so should I just go and knock like Friday evening and say I'm having an open house on Saturday? Should I do it Saturday morning? Because I want to do that because constantly that area has new people coming in because it gets rented for Airbnb. So
What I
any
would do?
suggestions?
Yeah. Do you think that, have you ever been on a vacation somewhere and been, boy, I'd like to have a vacation house here? Have you ever done that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, people do it all the time, right? All
Right.
these little beach towns and stuff like that. That's why they have, because of the internet age, storefront places like our office is behind a Tijuana Flats and a center out front. Because we don't have to be on the street. Nobody walks down the street in Orlando and walks into an office. People don't work floor time anymore, right? Because that used to be, some of you have been around a while, floor time used to be everything. Now
Yes.
I couldn't get you guys to work floor time. I'd have to pay you, right? Because nobody wanders into any place, but they do in beach towns. They do in destination areas. Probably at Celebration probably has some storefront. Really, I don't know any off the top of my head because I don't walk around down there, but I bet tourists do. Places that people want to vacation have that kind of thing because that's what you do. You go on vacation, you're like, wow, this is really great little beach town. We should do something. And then you go out to dinner to some little pizza place and there's a couple of real estate places there, right? With pictures in the windows. I think there still is on Park Avenue, might even have something like that.
Yes. Yes.
So,
but
and
what do you suggest for
downtown Winter
Davenport?
Garden does. But what I was getting at, let me get to this. So those people who are on vacation, hit them. They might be looking for a place. I'd love to own a place like this, but what are they going to do? Ask the Airbnb. I wouldn't think the Airbnb owner is going to tell it. And I don't even know how I can get to the owner a lot of times because you're dealing with a management company. So yeah,
Okay,
absolutely walk around and do that.
I have one more question because see, this is Solterra and Champions Gate is next door and Reunion is there. Because these are all the vacation rental homes. How do I target those gated communities? I know people in there, but how else can I put flyers out? Can I do door knocking there? What do you suggest?
I'm sorry, directional signs outside in like right of ways, public places, corners, intersections, directional signs.
And
There's
then
no
I
way
just
you
put
can
my
knock
phone
on enough
number.
doors.
I
Huh?
just put my phone number because nobody has the time to read the address when you're driving. So just put the phone number.
Yeah, I mean, I have one sign that I use for all purposes. So yes, something with your phone number prominent is probably, or yeah, especially if it's a high speed intersection, like a major intersection.
No, it
where
is a
they don't
major
have time.
intersection over there.
Yeah.
Very busy,
Yeah.
extremely busy because
is
it's the exit for Champions Gate. Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't waste my time going door to door. I would try to reach people where they are in their cars bored.
Okay. So phone number is preferred rather than address because nobody has the time when you're driving to look at the address.
And
Yeah,
then
they're
that
probably
way,
gonna- they'll probably
that
take a
same
picture.
sign is good every time you have an open house. It doesn't matter where you put it.
Yeah, I've ordered about 15 signs, so I'm going to put them all over. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Any other
And-
suggestions,
Yeah. And
Ryan?
Sunaina, is your son going to help you with this?
Yeah, he's doing it on Sunday. I'm doing it Saturday because I have this whole week because the owners are here. Otherwise, I don't never get the place from the property manager. So I'm trying to do 3 days I'll see how Saturday, Sunday goes, and then I might fall into Monday. They're really motivated to sell. They've dropped the price to 560. It's fully furnished. You can walk in and you're making money, you know?
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I really want this sold.
You know who's really good at canvassing is Sons.
Yeah.
Get them out there in that heat doing that.
I know.
But you know
I
what
know.
would be great? Doing it on Friday would be great. And in a place like an Airbnb community, I wouldn't go on Wednesday because it'd probably be somebody different on the weekend anyway. But
Yeah.
doing it on Friday or him doing it on Saturday for his own, I know he's busy Saturday, whatever, but him doing it on Saturday for his own thing on Sunday would be great. And
Yeah.
just the same approach, just like, hey guys, I know you guys are here on vacation, but if you have time, you know, and maybe you do it on hours where
So
they're
you
not gonna be at
think
the park.
Friday, Saturday is better because we
No,
planned it
no,
for Sunday, Monday.
No, I'm not saying the days are
I mean,
better.
sorry,
I'm
Saturday,
saying
Sunday.
canvassing on Friday for Saturday and Sunday would be perfect in that.
Okay, putting it on MLS, putting the signs, and what else?
I think that's enough. And canvassing, I think that's enough.
I'll
Just
go
make it,
door to door also. I don't mind because these people are so motivated. I just feel bad. They have everything going and it's a beautiful
and
house.
you know what, Sunaina? Some
Yeah.
things aren't selling that well. And that's just that sometimes there's no explanation for it. It's priced right, it's great neighborhoods, great
Yeah.
house, whatever. Some things aren't selling, but all we can do is do all of that. And like I said before, brag a little bit. You didn't hear it because your sound wasn't on. Brag a little bit about yourself, about what you're doing. Let them know, let the sellers know. I'm sure they know you're doing a great job for them, but you're out there. I'd even get videos of you sweating, walking door to door, because that's the
Okay.
kind of thing that makes me know that you're doing a great job. I'm proud of you. I hear it in your voice. I'm proud of you for doing such a great job for them. They need to know you're doing a great job for them anyway. Even I don't care if it's your cousin or your best friend. They
Yeah.
still need to know that you're out there doing a great job.
Oh, absolutely.
And it sounds like you
Our
are.
commissions are becoming very questionable to everybody. I don't know why.
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
It's not just your commissions, but somebody else comes in and who is willing to brag about themselves. And
Yeah.
these people are influenced by that.
Mhm. So get flyers, do the signs, and talk in the neighborhood, and what else? And MLS, I've put it. Should
Yeah.
I put on? Am I allowed to put an on the MLS saying make an offer, or it's like auction day today, or something like this? So people come with offers and they're ready to go.
You can say make an offer, right? You can't say auction day if it's not an auction day. But
Okay.
you can say, seller motivated, make an offer.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I'll put that out. Yeah. Thank you.
You bet. Vivian. Did you get out everything you wanted to get out? I'm going to assume you did. Tammy.
Just because Sonaida said things are sitting around in the Florida realtors this morning, buyer seller gap widens in housing market. Sellers outnumber buyers by 500,000 nationwide, the widest gap over a decade. As listings rise, the buyers remain cautious amid high mortgage rates. That was like the title. There's a whole article here.
Well, and there was an article a few days ago about buyer confidence surging. People are ready
Yeah.
to spend money. And I will warn you, or not warn you, well, warn you against taking the national news so much on a look. We are in a very different market.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
We're in a market where people want to be more than they
But
want to be.
Sonaida can use that information for her sellers, because if it's not selling, you can kind of use the narrative, whatever narrative you want. Oh, things are going great, or things are sitting, and back
Right.
your narrative up.
Right. And if you're selling a condo, if you're selling, look up stats for individual things. How are the sale of
What about the brokers
short-term
in
rentals?
that particular area that work that particular area? Should I send an email to them? Should I do
Of
that?
course.
No, but how do I look up all the realtors in that area that work vacation homes?
I would look at other ones who have them. Well, it's going to be a lot of management companies who are working them, but I would look at who's been selling in that neighborhood. Look
Okay.
at the listing agents go through the properties that have sold within 2 square miles or whatever.
Okay. 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 I can target that too. Yeah.
Okay. Short-term market stabilization, but slower growth. Okay.
Underperforming
Well, you're
market.
seeing that. See, here's what I was talking about. Strong markets, Henderson, Nevada, which is Las Vegas, Jersey City, Boston show robust demand driven by tourism. There's Florida markets, Orlando, Texas benefit from high occupancy and property value growth. But you can fly oversupply concerns. 662,000 properties for sale. Occupancy rates range widely. Oversupply in some markets, Mississippi, Redneck Riviera has lower blah blah leaving to blah. Here we go. Regulatory, you guys know that people are cracking down on them because some areas did not plan for this properly, including some in Central Florida. I've sat in city council meetings about other things where they brought this up because they didn't regulate them on time. And so some of them were in regular neighborhoods where people were coming and partying for 4 days and leaving in this nice, quiet neighborhood because it was not, I won't say outlawed, but regulated. And so then they started making people register the properties and denying people that were in regular neighborhoods before. This is 10 years ago, before a lot of STR zoning was done. Okay, so that's just going on about the properties. But there are things you can look for. For example, you say, why are Florida condominium sales difficult right now? And it'll go into all the new laws they have and all that stuff and how everybody's getting assessments. If you guys have tried to sell or buy condos recently, you know that it's been really tough to sell condos because they're getting all these assessments out of the blue because the laws changed where after the one collapsed in Miami, where you have to get all of these all of your reserves up to a certain amount and all that stuff. They're starting to ease some of that because it's not fair to local Orlando condos and everywhere else that aren't these, 25-story high rises on Miami Beach. So it's for everything over 3 stories or something like that. So, okay. Let's go on with where we were with the informative materials, engage visitors. Okay, so when you're actually holding the open house, greet guests warmly and offer a brief tour, let them explore independently, depending on their preference. You can ask them, you can start to walk them around. If you can kind of tell by their body language, they want to be left alone. It's just like if you're working at a store. You guys go shopping before, and this is a very important thing about sales. You go shopping, and what do you say when somebody comes up to you and says, "Can I help you find something?" You say, "No, I'm just browsing, just looking," right? Especially if you're a man, you're not just looking. You came there to buy something. But I will tell them that even if I know exactly what I want, I just can't find it. I'm usually just like, "No, I'm fine. Leave me alone," right? People want to buy. They do not want to be sold. So just remember that is something that people want to buy something. Everybody loves buying something. Nobody wants to be sold something. So that's the difficult. And you guys know that. That is why you don't want to appear too salesy to people on your social media or in real life, right? You guys, I hear you guys all the time. I don't want to be too salesy, which is what we talked about before. When you're offering them something of value, it doesn't come off as salesy, right? So usually you want to just let them look on their own. If you just want to keep an eye on them because of whatever, you can follow them around a little bit. But also, you can talk to them about the home when they come in. They're going to have questions. Talk to them about the home and say, "Hey, would you like to see the master? Would you like to see the third bedroom, the in-law suite, the pool? Let's go take a look at that." Guide them to what if they're coming the door telling you what is going to sell them on the property, then offer to show it to them. Answer questions honestly, but avoid oversharing personal details about the seller, obviously. Politely ask for feedback to gauge interest and improve future showings. What do you guys think? That's where you sell them on something else too. What do you guys think? Oh, this is, I don't think it's big enough. We have 3 kids. I don't think this is going to work for us. Oh, would you like to see something bigger in the neighborhood? And they may say no. They don't want to be sold, but you can engage them and find out. You're not going to know if you don't ask. If you just let them walk out the door, you're missing opportunities. Ensure safety and security, of course. Secure the valuables, medications, personal item locked in a safe or off-site. Let the sellers know about this, obviously. Exterior doors locked if possible. Monitor who exits and enters. Are you guys doing sign-in sheets? You guys can blame it on your broker. You can blame it on the seller. You can blame it on whatever you want, but people have to sign in. Okay, and you're going to get some Donald Ducks and stuff like that, probably, but that happens. But, make sure that they sign in somehow. Follow up promptly. You guys, some people are sending videos. Some people are doing all like little videos to their cell phones. Some people are doing all that kind of stuff about that. Thank you so much for coming by today. I hope you really enjoyed the house. I enjoyed talking to you, getting to meet you and your kids. Do individual ones. You can record them right after they leave and send them later. I think that is a very nice way to follow up. Separates you from other people, and you actually care. Make sure you're actually caring about what they told you. You listen to them. That's why I like doing it right away. You listen to them. You heard their concerns. You heard what they're looking for in a house. Hey guys, I know you're not looking for something with a pool, but I've got other stuff around here. If you guys want to see it, I can show it to you. I just looked up, there's 3 listings, within a mile of here, still in the same school district. Whatever they told you was important to them. In the same school district with a nice big backyard, there's 3 other listings like that. If you guys want to see them, let me know. I'll be happy to show them to you. I can do it anytime this week, right? Let them know. Vivian, I don't know if your hand is still up or if it's a new. If not, I'm going to go to Christina.
Hey, okay. I was just saying lately what I've been doing is just speaking with them, not immediately getting it, but making sure to say, hey, you know what? I've got a great video with all the information and a floor plan and all of that. I'd be happy to text it to you. What's the best number to reach you? And they usually give that up, so then I text it, then I have their number in my phone. I'll make a note about their name and any information like what you're saying, what they're looking for, their family, things like that. But a lot of people want to see a video, or hey, I have a virtual flyer, I'm trying to reduce paper waste or whatever, and that seems to be pretty effective for me.
Awesome. And they're going to, sometimes people are going to give you after you send them the video, they're going to say, Christina, it's a great house, but I think we're going to hold off for a few months. Whatever. Put them in your. Always assume they're telling the truth to some degree. Put them in your database. Hit them up in a couple of months. And what's the worst they can do? You guys are so nervous about doing this. I say you guys, everybody. So nervous about doing this. So afraid of the rejection of them saying, yeah, we're just going to use a different whatever. What's the worst they can do? Not work with you, right? Maybe be a little bit mean at some point, but probably just going to not work. You're following up. You guys ask, you approach it like, hey, you guys asked me to follow up with you in a few months. Just checking on what's next for you guys. And they may say, you know what, thanks for following up. We're not going to buy. They may say that to get rid of you. That's the worst that's going to happen, guys. And they're not going to work with you. Guess what? 99.9% of the people in this world are not going to work with you. That's okay. We need the ones that are. And if you don't contact them, you don't follow up, I guarantee you they're not going to. So if they say we're probably not going to do it right now. We love that neighborhood, but it's a really nice house. We're just not going to do anything right now. Okay, fine. I'll follow up with you later. Thank you very much. That's all you can do, guys. And then follow up with them. Don't just say, man, losing out on that one. All right. Highlight unique features. I will in your marketing and during the event. I would do that in your marketing, especially during the event. Listen to them. What brings you guys in today? What did you see? Is there something about the house that you wanted to see? Not really, but we just want to, check out the yard, make sure it has a nice yard, whatever it is. We have kids, we have this, that. We're looking for something in the school district, and then pay attention to what they tell you. If the market is slow, color themed open houses to draw crowds. Okay, I'll consider themed up and down. By executing these steps to maximize exposure, attract serious buyers, and increase the chance of successful sale. Guys, so much of this is follow-up. Natalie, do you find follow-up important for these? It's everything, right? It's follow-up. They're not. That is, and I would say follow-up is the most important thing we do with everything. You have a sale with people, and this is a whole different presentation we'll do shortly, in a couple of weeks. But follow up to a sale. What are you doing post-closing with these people to keep them as that is more important than getting them to start with? We talk about this all the time. A sale where you make $10,000. If I sell a couple a house, let's say they're 32 years old and they're buying a house, a couple, and I sell them a house and I make $10,000. That is not worth, that couple is not a $10,000 customer to me. That couple is a $100,000 customer to me, because I'm going to get their friends, I'm going to get their family, I'm going to get their next house. 5 to 7 years, they're going to, especially a young couple like that, they're either going to grow their family, or people are going to go off to college or whatever, they're going to sell and buy again. I'm going to buy and sell stuff for those people and their referrals. I'm going to make over $100,000 on them if I'm in this business the next 15 years, right? So whether you got 15 years, 30 years, whatever, and then they'll always be your referral customer. You can refer them to somebody else. When you're too old to sell them something, you can refer them to somebody else and get money from that, right? They'll always be your people. So follow-up is everything in this business. Do you guys have any questions on this, on open house stuff? Nope. Okay. I'm going to get into some, let me undo this. I'm going to get into some forms, guys. So some of the addenda and stuff that we're struggling with a little bit and other people are struggling with. I had one, I'm going to tell you this. It's still the Wild West with the compensation. So I had a question today. One of our great agents had a 2.5 listing, right? A 5% listing. They did it correctly. Similar to the old one, they filled out the listing agreement correctly. They had 5% at the top, 2.5 to share with someone else. And the other agent, very wisely and very, like I teach you guys, they said, nope, my buyer owes me 3%. I want 3%. The seller agreed to pay them 3%. Our agent asked me, tell me if you guys aren't following this. Our agent asked me, what should I do? Should I modify the listing agreement? And I said, yes. And here's why. It's still the Wild West. We don't know how these things would go if they go to court, but it's really legally no, because the seller has agreed separately to pay them 3% instead of 2.5. Okay. But what if the seller says, you know what? No, I agree to pay 5 total. If 3 goes to them, that came out of your part, right? So go ahead and explain to the seller, oh, we need a lot modified. That's fine. It's great that you're paying them 3% and you're paying me 2.5. I don't care. That's what I agreed to. But we need to modify the listing agreement to say 2.5 to me and 3 to them. That way the seller can't come back and say, no, I agreed to 5 total. And that may or may not be correct. I don't know, because it's the Wild West still. There's not precedent for this that I know of. There probably will be soon, because people are going to get sued and it's going to go to court and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But I think legally they agreed to pay 3%. I think that's above and beyond, but I'm not sure. So yes, you should go ahead and get it modified. If the seller, so what happens later if I modify my listing agreement to 2.5 and 3, and then this deal falls apart? So is it permanently like that? Yeah, now it's permanently like that. So you may want to put in the listing agreement in the additional terms when you modify. I'm sorry, on the modification, the additional terms. This is only for buyer XYZ. Okay, whatever their name is. All right, does that make sense to everybody? Give me some nods if that makes sense. So, okay, thank you. So I can only see a couple of you. So that's one of it. Should I use the GG? We're getting this a lot. Should I use the GG? You don't need the GG if you already have a compensation agreement filled out, seller's broker to buyer's broker or seller to buyer's broker. Then you don't need the GG. Do you guys know what the GG is off the top of your head? We talked about it last week. It's the one that says we will come to a deal within the next 3 days on compensation. Okay, you don't need it if you already have the compensation agreement. But if you don't, then you should put it with the offer. Do not put the compensation, the seller's broker to buyer's broker, with the offer that's going to the seller, right? Because that's a whole different form that's between them. And you don't want to do it without the GG, because then the seller can just sign the offer that doesn't have any commission for you at all, right? If that's what their situation is. Even if someone has texted you, yeah, we're going to give you 2.5%, 3%, whatever it is, get the compensation agreement signed. And so what I tell you guys to do, if you have the listing, go ahead and fill out the compensation agreement at 2.5%, 3%, whatever it is, because you'll have it all the time, and you'll just have to, you can text it to people, right? And as long as you have that as a buyer's agent, you have it, or a signed agreement from somebody, then you're good to go. Christina.
Hey, so I actually I currently have a deal, and it was submitted to me. Another agent with FRI, going great. We submitted, like, when we executed, we got that compensation agreement executed at the same time, but they had checked off the GG rider. So because it's checked off on the original contract, we still need to obtain it, right?
Yeah, or uncheck it and initial it. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
whichever way. Cross through it and initial it. Either way is fine because you never needed it. Some brokerages, I don't know who that agent was with us, but some brokerages are teaching people to just put it with every deal, which is not right. There's no reason to put we'll come to an agreement if we already have an agreement. That's just muddying the waters. Yes, Christine.
Yeah, and then I know you and I were talking. I had a situation where I ran into somebody that, you know, I have a deal closing. I mean, they're great, but I wrote into the body of the agreement my compensation, and they already had a compensation agreement. So they're like, well, you know, this is stating that you're, that's, you know, what I ran into most recently. Oh, this is stating that you're getting, you know, twice the commission.
It's the Wild West, Christine. Yeah, I talked about that on here. I don't know if you were on here when I talked about that. I don't think.
Yeah, I was, I think.
But
yeah.
it's not a double. It's not. They're not getting paid. You're not getting paid double if that happens. It's
Right.
ridiculous. But I get why people get nervous. You know, so just do whatever. It's the Wild West. Just do whatever covers you, and you were double covered on that. So whatever covers you and makes you comfortable. So
And I think still, like, we could still do that and then just maybe just clarify the wording and say, hey, you know, in total,
as
like,
per,
you know,
as per our
XYZ.
compensation agreement, you can put on there as per our compensation agreement, which says we're talking about the same 2.5%, right?
Gotcha. Perfect. Yep. Yeah, I still think I agree. I still think it's safer for us if we have it into the body of the agreement, right? Like more protected for us that way.
We can do that now. A lot of people. I had somebody else, not your deal, somebody else, another. You know, a lot of agents are not trained. They don't go to training. Their broker doesn't train them, whatever. And they're saying that you can't put commission in an agreement. You absolutely can put commission in an agreement now. Things have changed. You know, a year and a half ago you couldn't, but now you can. Now that it's not offered, it's not an MLS offer of compensation. It used to be a violation of your of the code of ethics. Now it is not. Because
And
there
that's
isn't
like
MLS
best
offer.
practice for us, right? Like if we put it into the body along
Yes, and
with
it's always been legal. We've always done it in commercial deals. You put it right in the contract in commercial deals because there was no MLS offer of compensation. Nobody's referring to the MLS. Guys, the MLS and the realtors code and all that stuff is not the law. That is an agreement that you guys have signed on to. If you're a member of the board, you have signed on to this code of ethics, but it is not the law. And they do have a little bit of teeth. They can fine you $500 or kick you out or whatever if you're terribly unethical, but they can't enforce anything in a court of law. They're not the real law. Any other questions? Yes, Christina.
again, I'm just curious. I mean, you and I are talking about one where I had somebody where, you know, we're going to cancel the agreement. I'm curious what other agents are doing. Are you adding an additional cancellation fee? Generally speaking, I work with people I know, so I typically don't have that, but I'm just interested to see if other people are exercising that and adding cancellation fees in your agreements.
Okay, great question. Who's doing it?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Me.
Yeah, that's a great question because Ryan, I sent an email to you yesterday. I don't know if you received it or not, but if you see it, that's what it's about. And my question, right in line with Christina there, that I have a listing where the seller has decided, well, I'm going to withdraw it, take it off the market. I'm thinking of renting it. The biggest problem he's had is that he's overpriced it. He's held it over market price for a long time. But I have in section, I think it's section 12 of the listing agreement, $175 cancellation fee. My question is, how do we charge that? Usually transaction fees, things like that, it comes out through the title work and what goes on the closing statements. But how do we invoice that seller if they're going to cancel and charge for that, get that $175 to FRI?
How do you invoice them?
Yes.
You just make an invoice and send it to them. We can do it here from the office if you want, but it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be something with our letterhead.
Yeah, that's what I thought. If you had a particular form there at the office that I can fire over and say,
We we invoice for different things for agents from time to time. Like commercial leases, we have to do invoices for and stuff like that. I'll see. You can ask Solange. I'm sure Solange probably has a form.
Yeah, that would be great because I'd have to make up my own form, charge him, get him write a check, something like that, and send it to FRI. And FRI says, "Well, what's this for?" And the only thing I have to refer it to is the actual listing agreement that we have.
Okay. I do not have a email from you for ever.
Okay.
So just
Well,
anything on my list with you is all the open forums that I send you. That's it. So
all right, no problem. Well, we got it covered now. If you see it, if you see it, that's what it was about.
yeah, I know I've got your right address because you're here. But send me some test. Send me a test, please.
All right.
Is it in your
and,
spam? Is it in your spam?
you know, I would have sent his stuff to spam before probably, but no, it's not. No, it's his all mail.
And kind of a follow-up with the open houses. I mean, my lifestyle is a whole lot different, so I don't have a lot of bragging rights. But in my early days, one of the things for open houses, when people would come in, one of the things I'd like to ask questions, you know, and where are you from? What are you looking for? It's some of the questions like, what are your biggest challenges? What have been your biggest obstacles that you've had? And, you know, if they, well, we're just looking at this neighborhood, you know, trying to decide to come and take a look at this house. I would, before open house, I would take a look at the surrounding communities. So if people had, you know, questions, well, we don't like this style, we like the style over there. So I would take that time to let them know, well, have you looked into this community or that community over there? There's X number of houses that are selling for such and such. But I usually would, you know, ask a lot of questions, not pressure, not push, and just kind of offer information, just information forward for them. And I got to say that most of my clients came from open houses during that time. And right now, not so much. But then again, I'm not pushing that much in real estate. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Thank you. What else?
And I will, by the way, if anybody is looking for someone to do open houses, I live in Longwood, I'd be willing to do open houses for them.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mike.
Throw me up there.
All right. And you guys, so let's talk about our Facebook group. I'm encouraging people to put theirs on there. I don't know how many of you guys are on our Facebook group, but you need to get on it, even if you're not very active in Facebook, just so you can, you know, it's better. You know, some people do like text groups and stuff like that. I don't want to get into all that, putting you guys on a text group to blow your phones up all day with crazy stuff. So I think you guys appreciate the Facebook group because you can get on there or off there as much as you want and ignore it and whatever you want to do. But please, if you're not on there and you're interested in this stuff, that's where people are putting it. I can, you know, I can't send out, I would drive you guys nuts if I sent out everything that everybody wants to get out to everybody. So put it on there. I've had you guys ask me, can you share this listing with everybody? And I tell them, put it on the Facebook group. I can't, if I emailed you, you guys would block me. I'd go to your spam. And yes, Mike is going to my spam. I found you, but it won't even let me open your email. So I don't know why. It thinks you're sending me a Trojan horse of some type. But your email is the best way to reach me for all of you guys. But Mike, if you need to text me or call me, that's fine. But I know some of you guys text me, but text, because I'm in my car a lot, text, and I open your text and I can't respond to it right then, and it goes off the bot. And so email is great. I can always mark them unread and get back to you. Juliana.
Yes, I just have a quick question. One of my clients, we had a listing last year, and we end up renting it because he's asking for too much money, and he knows not too much money, but it's not the comparables nowadays. And he just called me this morning, and he said he got an offer for the property. He wants me to handle the transaction, but we're not sure that they will be closing because they said they're gonna pay what he was asking for. And he's been seeing the comparables, but he said, if they're for real, I want you to help me with the transaction. Do I need to do a listing again? How do I get that back? He's
You
not,
can just-
if it doesn't go through, he's not gonna list it because it's rented and he's okay with it.
No, you don't need to. So you've got two things you can do: a commission agreement, or we're back to where you can write it in the contract. So you can just say that they'll pay Florida Realty Investments whatever percentage you agree on.
Right.
That's it. Seller will pay Florida Realty Investments 3%, 5%, whatever you've agreed on, and that's it.
Okay. Okay. We'll do that if it goes through. Alrighty.
Right.
Thank you.
You bet. And I had someone tell me on the other side of a transaction, this was in South Florida, for one of you guys, that you cannot write the word. No, he wrote it in our agent wrote it in the additional terms that they'll pay Florida Realty Investments a commission of blank, right? They said, oh, you can't, this agent didn't know anything. Just say, you can't write the word commission in a contract. Not true. You can write commission. They said, oh, you have to write compensation. Not true. That's in a contract. That's not true at all. So I don't know. It's ridiculous. But it's the Wild West out there. People are misunderstanding things or not even trying to understand them, etc. But yeah, that's fine. So commission agreement's what you want to do for that. Same thing you would use if you were buying a FSBO, right? Use a commission agreement from the seller, have the seller sign the commission agreement with the thing. But nowadays I would write it in the contract. So you either get and I want to be very clear on timing of things. Guys, cover yourself on this. Don't send a commission agreement to a FSBO. Don't send a commission agreement with the offer. They can just sign the offer and have a legitimate contract without signing the commission agreement. Send the commission agreement first, get it back, then send the offer. And on the commission agreement, you write, this is only for my client, XYZ, Bob and Sue, my client. If they don't buy it, then the guy doesn't owe you anything. Make it very obvious. I always say a guy for Facebook because I always picture the same person. Somebody thinks they're smarter than realtors and blah, blah, blah. But that's what you do. Make sure you get these compensation agreements. Make sure you get them back before you present the offer, or you do the GG, right? The one that says we're going to come to an agreement within 3 days. Okay. And because that's so messy. And I want this compensation agreement before anyway, because it's so messy, the GG. Now we're going to blow up the deal because that's what you get pressured to blow up the deal because you don't get the buyer's commission covered, right? The buyer gets mad and this whole thing. And then it looks like commission was the whole reason they couldn't buy the house. So get those, just get the compensation agreement signed. That's preferable. If you can't, you can't, but it's best to get the compensation agreement in. Okay. Christina.
Okay, I got a three for. First one's kind of dumb, but I think it's probably a no, but I just figured I'd ask. Is it possible to hold opens on things that are pending? Like if you have a deal where you're like, well, we're reaching the end of our contingency period, maybe we're not sure this is going to proceed. Yeah, I mean, if anybody, if they would even want to do that, but if you think something might not be working out, can you hold an open and just say, hey, this is pending, but we're taking backup offers?
I would not without the buyer's permission.
Okay. Second, kick out clauses. I don't think I've used that before. But like, for example, you have a deal and it's like, okay, well, we've reached the end of the contingency period, but they're still interested. They still have to, for example, sell their house. How do you use kick out clause?
I didn't really.
Or is anybody else using
How do you use it?
Yeah, like I think it's designed for like, hey, right of first refusal type thing. Like that's the general idea that I'm working with. Like if you have a buyer, they say, I want to buy this house. Here's my contingent contract. And they still haven't gotten a contract on their house, but they're like, hey, we feel like we could get one soon. We're dropping the price, whatever. Something that would still, maybe give them the right of first refusal. Is that the kick-out clause that we would use?
What that is if you have somebody has a sale of buyer's property contingency and they've just put their house on the market and everything's taken 4 months to sell in that neighborhood and it's maybe not, that lets me out of the contract with you if I get one without that contingency.
Gotcha. Is there
Now,
sort of a right of first?
I can't take a similar, I can't just take a better price with the same contingency if I do that.
Gotcha. Is there sort of a right of first refusal addendum or,
No, it might, is there a first right of refusal addendum?
Yeah, or any sort of,
There's
documentation.
paperwork for that, but I don't know if it's on our FAR bar stuff, but you can have a first right of refusal on something. It can be written
Yeah, like
into a contract for whatever. Let's say I sell you a house and you want the lot next to it. And I say, I'm not going to sell it to you, but I'll put you first right of refusal when I do sell it
Mhm.
to
Yeah, I'm
entice you
just
to buy
trying to. That's what I'm running into a lot lately is, either on the buy or sell side where people, they have to sell to be able to buy or, vice versa. So I'm just running into a lot where there's contingencies.
That's not a first right of refusal. That's a kickout clause. So you can offer
Okay.
them to give them a kickout clause, because what's the fear there? You're going to tie me up for 45 days and then you're not going to have your house sold. And you're just have gone under contract where it's going to close in another 30 days. And then that contract can back out and you can tie me up for 75 days. So I can give you that, but I will accept your sale of buyer's property, but I'm going to you're going to have to sign this kickout clause. It allows me to kick out of this deal if I get a better deal.
And then
Without that same contingency.
let's say I had the buyer in that case, and then they reach the end of their contingency period, but they're still interested, and they're like, okay, well now I'll reduce or whatever it may be. Do they just cancel the contract and then resubmit, or is there anything else you would suggest in that?
Okay, what happened then?
So say you have a buyer, you have a contract on 123 Main Street, but they got to sell their house. So they say, hey, here's our contract contingent. It's for 60 days, 75 days, whatever. You reach the end of that period and they still haven't gotten a contract on their home. So they say, hey, you know what? We haven't gotten a contract, but we would still like to buy this house. Can you give us more time? Is that just like an extension or?
Yeah, you can always ask for that. Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was anything, I guess the kickout clause is more.
Well, I guess maybe now you'd say, but here's a kickout clause. If you give us 30 more days, we'll give you a kickout clause in case you get a better deal in the meantime.
Right. And lastly, I just was curious, and I don't know, I'm sure you probably have addressed it. I saw Florida Realtor send something out. What's with the new delayed listing status for the MLS?
I didn't see that. Is it new, or is it from a month ago?
I mean, I thought it was.
I'll check it out. I don't know. I'll look into
Okay.
that. Any other questions? All right. Hopefully that covers some of that stuff with compensation for you guys. It's like I said, it's the Wild West still. Just make sure you're covered. We've already had people have to it's been pretty heated from here and there. They did get paid, but it's been heated. And that was one where the guy said he would pay them 2%. The listing agent said, well, oh, it's 2%. We're offering, it was a high dollar house. So we're offering 2%. They didn't get it signed. They sent the offer, was accepted. And then the guy tried to back him down to 1%. We made a big deal about it, obviously. And then they said, well, as long as it closes on time, then we'll pay the 2%. And if it did close on time, we got the 2%. But if it had not closed on time and we didn't get the 2%, it would have been an interesting case, because they had text showing that it was 2%, but they didn't have it in writing. I didn't have a signed agreement. And then they tried to change it later. So there you go. Make sure you're covered. Get these agreements signed, or that GG is something you can throw in there. So it does have a place if they haven't signed an agreement yet, or if they're saying, we've got 2 offers on this, we're going to make a decision today. If you want to throw your offer in, do that, and you don't have time to get it signed, then throw it in there with the GG. Okay. But don't expect more than what they've already told you they would pay. If they said, we're not going to pay anything, seller's not offering any commission, then the GG doesn't mean anything. And now we're going to have to negotiate that. So you can tell them we want 3%, put it in the contract. That in that case, say, put it in the contract, and then obviously you have to offer a little bit more. All right. All right. That's all I have for today, guys. If you have any questions before we go, real estate related questions, nothing about Panama. Those of you in Orlando may know something about that, but the ORA president. But that can be a discussion for another day. You guys have a great time. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work, guys. You're doing great.
I have a question.
Yes,
Ryan, just
Yes.
a general, it's nothing to do with real estate. I had a fire in the house. I'm looking for a good public adjuster because insurance is taking their own time. I've been 6 weeks in the hotel. Anybody has a good suggestion for a public adjuster?
Great question.
If
Put that-
anybody has a
Put that
good
on
one,
put that on our Facebook page, Sanaya. if you're on there.
Okay, will do. Okay, thank you.
It'll reach more people in their own time.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Lexi just said something. List of houses put together without having them sign up for anything first. Yeah, you can send out that list without signing anything. You're not showing them to them. Do a search on MLS. What tools do I use for this? I know there's one home. Yeah, that's the MLS search. If I need to assign people to the list, is there an alternative? You don't need to sign people to it. You can sign yourself to it. You know, do your own email. Yeah, do an MLS list, do your own email. When it sends it out as one home. But put yourself on there, and then you can share it with people. Then they're going to contact you from your social media, and they're going to give you their email address. That's the whole point, is to get them signed up for your social media for your database. And then you can send them anything you want to send them in the future to, because they've signed up for your database. If someone's given you their email for a marketing thing, then you can put them on their database, and you are welcome to email them anything you want in the future, business related. Okay. All right. So yes, Daryl knows about Panama. All right, guys, I will see you all next week. Thank you very much for coming in, and we'll talk about some other stuff next week. See you guys.